Hello, hello, everybody. How's everyone doing this fine Sunday afternoon? Hope everyone's doing well. I apparently have one viewer, but I know that's a lie. Because I see 3 people, 4 people in chat. Unless they all left before I started. First time chat from Tom Good Idea. Wow. Okay, now it says 6 people. Time says it's the most stressful period of uni for me. All my exams are coming up. At least I didn't fail any of them yet. Well, good luck with that. I've not done an exam in quite some time. How is this playlist messing up? It's not auto playing the next song. We'll see if it does, if it messes up this time. Warp says microliters. Oh no, that's just micro with an exclamation point. Okay. Then we have ZipRoot on Discord currently typing. I see you. Up. It stopped. Say something. Don't be shy. The typing continues. Zip says I don't have a Twitch account. Well, that's why I look at both chats when I'm able to. If I notice that somebody's in the other chat, then I'll check. But, I mean, normally I'm checking Twitch. Or if it's a classic Endless Sky contributed move is to spend too much time working on stuff related to the game and then drop out of higher education. Also, it's high upside down. Alright, for Benny. But they're not here. Okay, yeah. Well, since I had to start like 40 minutes late here, I don't know how far we'll be going. Maybe I want to hit at least an hour, and then we'll see after that how far we get. Let's see. 2 weeks away from the release, as it is currently scheduled, which implies that this week is the last week to get anything big in. Now that I say that, I'm most definitely going to be streaming Tuesday and Thursday. Put that on your calendar. Hi, Legacy. Up to you. Doom says, sorry I'm late. Don't mention it. Gosh, who would be late to a thing like this? Super asks time on the Tuesday, Thursday streams. Let me throw something into eBot Converter. That time, wrong date. But that time on Tuesday, Thursday. Oh, timer ship pull request? Oh yeah, that. I need to look at that as well. That needs to be finalized. Damn, midnight stream again. I mean, that's when I get home from work. Well, around that time. So, that's like when I'm home from work and I'm finished dinner. So that's like the earliest I could start streaming, Tuesday, Thursday. Either that or I leave work early and get you a 11 p.m. stream. 2 streams in one day. No. Let me change the date on that just so it's clear what's happening. There you go. I'm sure you could act like the stream is a work-related Zoom meeting. Here's the thing, I work from home. Well, I can work from home. I usually go to the office, but I have the option to work from home. I don't know. Unironically, I probably could finish work early on Tuesday or Thursday. I mean, it depends on what there is to do. I've been told there's a lot coming down the pipeline for me to do, but then I'm always told that every week, and it doesn't happen half the time. So, I don't know. We'll see. But that time at the earliest that I posted in the stream chat on Discord. Alright. The point of this stream, though, is to look over some pull quests that have been in the pipeline. I mentioned Adelita, I think Friday, yesterday rather. But the main thing I want to get to is the derelict ships. Because that's been one that I reviewed once or twice in the past, and it's been marked down for this release for some time. It's probably good enough to finalize, but let's see. Let me find it first. Here it is. 9039 for anyone who wants to follow along at home. This has 4 approvals already. Alright. Adds derelict fleets to some uninhabited human systems. Boarding these derelicts will allow the player to either safely salvage the ship for a small credit reward or attempt to repair the ship. Repairing the ship has was intended to grant the player the ship itself, hence why the variants are the way they are. However, currently, they just give a larger credit reward and the ability to plunder a rare outfit from the ship. Androids were removed. It looks like instant death has also been removed, so there's no chance of dying when this happens. So previously, one of the issues was it gave you androids as a rare reward, but that's a big no-no. I also noted that the way this originally was set up is that a mission, you would get a random mission when you landed that would spawn a derelict ship somewhere. And boarding the derelict ship, this music is not... Let me refresh this. Thank you, YouTube. Very cool for having your playlist functionality not work. 3rd time's the charm, I guess. In any case, it was first a single mission that would spawn randomly in the background, invisibly. It would spawn a derelict ship somewhere. When you boarded that ship, that's when you would get all the mission text. But now, it is set up so that there are derelict fleets that can spawn with a very low chance. Given that these are derelict fleets, they should never spawn from the planets or hyperspacing in. They will only ever spawn when you enter the system. Because when you enter the system, it runs, I think, 5 seconds. It simulates 5 seconds of fleet spawns. And that should be the only time that these can actually spawn in. I'm not going to verify that. I'm going to, if the mission is good, I'm going to merge this, and if somebody finds out that they're spawning from planets, we'll look into it during the patch. That's good, that's good. Here's the boarding mission. Here's some separate missions you can get from the boarding missions. And then the derelict ships are here. These are just outfitters for the sake of adding stuff that you can find on the ships. They are all derelict variants. And if you check, they are all derelict, they're all mute, so you can't talk to them, and they are all marked. Does marked work on non... Oh, marked just means nothing else is going to attack it. Okay, I remember that now. Marked means nothing will attack these except for the player. At least intentionally. If we go to governments real quick. And yeah, there's no reputation with anyone else, so... Actually, no, there is. Default attitude, I said this. Oh yeah, so that stuff can... Stray projectiles can still hit it. So you can actually use them as cover if they happen to be there and you are in the middle of a battle. But we get down to the actual ships themselves. They're all set up to be autonomous and to remove any crew from the ships or any bunks, and they're all uncapturable. They all only have a few outfits on them, although that probably doesn't matter too much, but it's something. When you scan it, you can see. Yeah, that's fancy. The James command that Warp just mentioned in stream chat. Alright, I think there was a time when these had different stats, like reduced hull and whatnot, but that's not the case anymore. The meat of this, though, is this mission right here. This is a mission that you can get upon boarding any of these derelict ships. It is a guaranteed offer. It will never complete, although if you don't finish it in 3 days, or if you don't kill these guys in 3 days, this just means that if it spawns pirates, these pirates will follow you around for 3 days. What did I say here? We should have 2 complete never. Alright, yeah. So that's been added. A note for future content creators. If we want to always have a 100% chance for a mission to spawn upon boarding a derelict ship, but we don't want to add more and more of this, or more and more to this mission's conversation in order to add more derelict ship missions, then we can make this the default derelict boarding mission by giving it no 2 offer conditions, and any boarding missions we want to offer aside from this one can have priority and 2 offer conditions that make them not appear 100% of the time. By giving other missions priority, it means that we don't need to mess with the alphabetical naming of missions in order to get them to sometimes offer before this one hits its 100% offer chance. Alternatively, we could make this mission minor and all other derelict missions non-minor. My point there was... This is a rather meaty conversation. It's got some heft to it. A lot of branches in it, though. And the way this is set up is that, depending on some of the endings, you can get an item, or rather you get an item, it sets a condition. This playlist is busted. I'm really cramping my style here, YouTube. I would play, like, my normal mix. I know that's going to work, but that's probably good. It has a higher chance of getting copy striked by Twitch. Alright. Mon Gosling says, "Oh, I remember seeing this pull request. Thought it would be quite a cool idea." I thought it was quite a cool idea. Yeah, it is. It is. It's one of those exploration things to add to the game. Anyway, as I was saying, this is a conversation with a lot of branches. 2 of the endings allow you to get a condition that causes other missions to offer. But if we wanted to add more of these types of missions where you get some ending in one of these derelict missions and that causes the new mission to offer, I wouldn't want us to just keep adding to this one big conversation, because that could get that would get very out of hand very quickly. So instead, we can play with the priority and minor tags on missions to manipulate the offer order of these things. By making it so that if nothing else offers, at least this mission will. But there could be other missions that could offer in its place, depending on what their offer conditions are. I'm going to mess with the order of these later. So there's a chance that, depending on one of the endings, you could spawn in these 2 pirate rates. Entering, Nemesis, Vindictive, Staying. Alright. Staying, which means you could leave. Okay. You board the Origin, the ship, and look around its derelict hull, which appears to be in fairly stable condition. You could risk repairing it for a greater profit, or you could salvage what you can from the ship and leave the rest. Let's say we just try and salvage it. We jump all the way down. Looking for it. Looking for it. I didn't see it. Label salvage. There it is. Deciding not to risk it, you quickly scour the ship for valuable scrap and outfits. You have a 40% chance of getting the valuable branch, but otherwise you just find 10k credits. Upon a brief inspection of the ship, you find a few valuables, only managing to salvage a meager 10,000 credits from the ship. Then we jump to detonate. You can either detonate the ship and leave, or try and find a bit more salvage. I thought I mentioned something about it being weird that we would bomb the ship. If we try to find more, if you're unlucky 75% of the time, then that will trigger the pirates to spawn in. Actually, you attempt to search the ship for more valuables, but to no avail. However, the hull begins to creak and groan, prompting a hasty retreat or return to your ship. Not a moment too soon, as the Origin begins to violently fall apart the moment your ship detaches. So this causes it to explode. 20% of the time you'll spawn in pirates. You make your way to the cockpit in the hopes of finding any valuables. Initially finding nothing, you turn to leave and search more of the ship, but then we jump to Beacon, which jumps up. However, you notice a blinking light on the controls of the ship. You wonder what it could signal as you approach it, and once you get close enough, you realize that it warns of the arrival of hostile spacecraft entering the system. The derelict must have been a pirate booby trap. I added booby. To make matters worse, the ship appears to be rigged to blow. You now have a pretty good guess at what you're dealing with as you race back to your ship. And that causes you to launch. The ship explodes. By accepting the mission, it spawns in the pirates. Let's roll back up to the top, though. Was there anything else we could have happen here? On the off chance that you find something valuable, then you could find 63,000 credits. Searching through the ship, you find that it is quite valuable. You manage to salvage a substantial amount from the Origin, worth 63,000 credits. But if you either hit a 5% chance, or you hit a 25% chance, and you haven't been offered one of the other missions yet, then we hit this rare encounter. If it's rare, and you haven't been offered one of the quests yet, then we jump down here. If you haven't been offered the ion cannon yet, or there's a 50% chance that you could get offered the family investment quest first. Let's say we get offered the family investment quest. You find 26,500 alongside some kind of map. As you search the system, or as you search the ship for anything valuable, you find some kind of map tucked into a panel. It's easy to carry, allowing you time to further salvage a meager 26,500 credits from the Origin. And then that's when it jumps to detonate, and you can try and find more. That then sets a condition to offer a mission. Let's say that doesn't happen, though, and you don't jump down to this one, and instead you jump down to this one. setting a different condition. As you search the ship for anything valuable, you find a large black case filled with 325,000 credits. Investigating further, you find a text log next to the case, and you decide to take both of them with you. Let's say that doesn't happen, and you've already finished both quests. Well, if that's the case, then all you find is a box of 475,000 credits. And you take the whole thing. That would only be a 5% chance, though, to find that after you've done these two quests. If you haven't found either of these quests, then you have a 25% chance when you do this to find one of them. After the 40% chance up here. So. Zipper says 15% chance of pirates if you don't blow up the ship, 25% chance of 35,000 credits, 60% chance of nothing. If you cannot handle the pirates, it is essentially negative 10,000 credits because you have to reload your save and don't get the 10k credits. This means it is generally a good idea to never blow up the ship. Yeah, I feel like I've left a comment saying maybe don't say you blow up the ship. Because, like, what's your motivation? So here's my... I left a lot of comments here. Just ordering. More ordering. Is this a freighter or a freighter? I could have sworn I left a comment about the detonating the ship thing. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I didn't. Why would I want to prevent others from scouring the ship? I understand that the purpose of this is to make it so that you can't go to the boarding panel, but I'd prefer if the reason that this route leads to the destruction of the ship was a choice. Give the player a choice to destroy the ship, or perhaps to continue searching the ship for more valuables. Okay. Just lines up with what I said then. Because before it was a forced, you intentionally blow up the ship. But now, I want to add to this. Give a reason. Blow it up so that others can't loot it. Oh, cool. Sorry for bothering you. Take this L. Do not have stream moderators or whatever the word is? No. What's the purpose? We only have like 10 people here max, and I'm reading chat. I just ban the comments when they come along. Alright. Let's roll all the way back up to the top. I'm not going to go through each of these. Yes, it's popular enough to get spam. Let's go. It's a common occurrence every so often. We need to have like a sign since last spam message. Or days since last spam message sign. Alright, let's say you attempt to repair the ship, though. Deciding to go for a bigger score, you attempt to repair the ship. You can repair the engines, the hull, or the power first. Let's just say the power. With a few simple repairs, you manage to get the ship's power systems operational and running smoothly. Then you can choose to repair the engines or the hull next. Each time this happens, there's a chance that something bad could go wrong. Or something could go wrong. Bad could happen. You know what I mean. So if we jump down to power surge. With a few simple repairs, you manage to get the ship's power systems operational. Briefly, the power shuts down again with a violent vibration shuddering through the ship. You quickly run back to your ship before the origin breaks apart. If you are trying to repair the hull and something goes bad, as you patch up a segment of the hull, you notice that a deformation in it is slowly expanding. To make matters worse, this is a structurally essential part of the hull. You quickly run back to your ship before the origin breaks apart. Or if there's a misfire in the engines, as you're fixing the engines, a valve bursts. With no power, the secondary valve cannot close itself off, letting coolant uncontrollably fly into the hull. The force of the liquid sends a violent vibration shutting through the ship. You quickly run back to your ship before the origin breaks apart. All of these, of course, leading to the destruction of the ship. Let's say you successfully repair something, though. Then you have the option to either try and repair the next item, or flee the ship for fear my repairs have made the ship more dangerous. If you flee, jump down to here, you find at least 7.5k credits. Wary of your own foolish repairs, you decide to leave the ship alone. However, you did manage to hang onto a little bit of scrap worth 7.5k credits you found during your repairs. Your fears seem to be warranted as the origin begins to fall apart the moment you detach. Let's roll all the way back up, though. You repaired everything. With a few simple repairs, you managed to get the ship's power systems operational and running smoothly. With the repairs finished, you head to the cockpit to see if the origin starts without exploding. Prepared to bolt for the airlock should things go wrong, you start the ship. There's a 25% chance this will fail. There's an empty action here. But if it doesn't fail, the ship thrums to life with bated breath. Or with bated breath, you wait for the sound of some of the systems exploding, but nothing happens. Success! The ship is yours. But if you fail, as it begins to thrum to life, a loud explosion rocks the ship. Run! You start to run through the corridors, the tight corridors of the ship. Objects are tumbling everywhere and more explosions threaten to sweep you off your feet. You can then slide into the airlock, dive into the airlock, or run into the airlock. Whatever you do, you get out of there. As you dive towards the airlock, explosions erupt on both sides of you, and you're sure that you look like an action hero as you tuck and roll through the airlock to safety. Having narrowly escaped death and not wishing to chance it, you quickly depart. But let's say you succeed, and you've repaired the ship. There's a 15% chance that you could set off a beacon, which does the same thing as finding the pirates. However, you notice a blinking light on the controls of the ship. You wonder what it would signal as you approach it. And once you get close enough, you realize that it warns of the arrival of hostile spacecraft entering the system. The derelict must have been a pirate trap, and to make matters worse, the ship appears to be rigged to blow. You now have a pretty good guess on what you're dealing with as you race back to your ship. That's the same label that we jumped to earlier. If that doesn't happen, then you have a 5% chance, should you have enough credits, to trigger a virus. This steals, what's that, 200k credits from you? You need at least 1 million for this to even happen. However, moments later, a screen lights up in the cockpit displaying something strange. Upon closer inspection, you realize it's some form of malicious software, and it's attempting to hack into your ship. You race back to your ship, quickly launching and destroying the origin, but by the time you manage to destroy the virus, it has already hacked into your bank account. Your account reports a change in balance of negative 200k. If that doesn't happen, you find 65k. Despite your best efforts to make the ship actually fly, it just won't. On the upside, now you have time to loot and pilfer some outfits from the ship as you please. Before leaving the cockpit, you find a credit chip sitting on the controls worth 65,000 credits. And this declines. Everything else either launched or departed. If we launch or depart at the end of a boarding mission, it will blow up the ship that you are boarding. But by declining, you actually enter the boarding panel that lets you steal and plunder outfits from the ship. But you can't capture these because they were marked as incapturable. So that's that. Looking pretty good. Sog is here. Roadrunner is here, in parentheses, Azure, in parentheses, Fission Fragment. Let's hop down to the missions, though. The missions you can get based off of that. So if you have the Ion Cannon treasure map, follow the treasure map you found in a derelict ship to destination being New Argentina. Upon landing on Origin, you take out the treasure map you recovered from the derelict ship. The map gives detailed instructions about where the treasure was buried on the sparsely populated world of New Argentina. However, the map's creator claims to have obtained some kind of alien weapons that disrupts a ship's electrical systems. The outlandish claim seems to bring doubt to the validity of the map. You can either throw it away, it's probably fake, or follow the map. If you follow the map, flying low over New Argentina, you follow the instructions to an isolated valley where you promptly land and get to digging. After hours of shoveling the hard soil, you're met with a thunk as you strike metal. And we branch off of whether you know the high or not. If you don't, opening the cache reveals a large store of credits along with the alien weapons the map's owner wrote about. You marvel at their strange design and wonder at their power. But if you know about the high, opening the cache reveals a large store of credits along with 2 high ion cannons. These must be the alien weapons the map's owner wrote about. You get a bunch of credits and 2 ion cannons. You grab the payment of credits, and with the assistance of some machinery, you bring the weapons back to your ship. This action is actually redundant. We can just put these up here, because you get to here regardless of what you choose. So this just tidies things up a little bit. Up next, Family Investment 1. Let's reorder this. You know what? It's more reordering. This must be in the proper order. Not the same as this one, right? Yeah. Upon landing on Origin, you take out the text log you covered alongside the case of 325,000 credits. I don't think this payment replacement's going to work. We need an impairment payment, I think. That's what it is, right? I don't think the first payment replacement in this conversation is going to work because there is no on offer or on complete that contains a payment. The second payment replacement will work because the action containing the payment is directly above it. Therefore, we could use an apparent payment here to fix the first replacement. That's how apparent payment works, right? I've never used it before. Okay, yeah, it's a child of mission. Alright. The log reveals the credits were the result of a risky investment in an attempt to buy a better life for the captain of the ship, Colin Sawyer, and his family. Another Sawyer. You assume that the captain never made it home, and looking further into the personal log, you find the family used to reside on destination, that being Sundive. Attempt to return the credits, or keep the credits to yourself. If you do, you decide to keep the money. After all, it's not every day you find a score worth this much. But if you attempt to return the credits, then you are sent to Sundive. Let's make sure this has a destination in the description. And then, I guess same down here. Upon landing on planet, you take a... Upon landing on Origin, you take a transport out to the small farm indicated in the log as the home of Captain Sawyer's family. After knocking on the door of the farmhouse, a man opens the door and asks, "Can I help you?" Do you know a Colin Sawyer, or do the Sawyers live here? Sawyer? Yeah, that's the family that sold me this here farm. If you're looking for them, I believe they moved to a more populated planet. Owned by some big corporation now. The man gives you the Sawyer's new place of residence on destination and bids you farewell. It doesn't take long to find the Sawyer's home on planet. This one is correct. The building makes it clear that the family has done well for themselves. After a quick explanation, explanation with? I would say explanation to or conversation with. Thoughts? Conversation with or explanation to? Alright, I see own is correct here. Alright, they own some big corporation now. Alright. I'm going to say conversation with. After a quick conversation with the desk clerk that you have something important to give, you take an elevator ride to the penthouse. You ring the buzzer and are greeted by a woman in her late 50s. "A delivery?" she asks. "Do you know a captain or a Colin Sawyer?" A scowl appears on her face and she spits out a response. "What do you know about my dad? That deadbeat left me and my family with nothing, with next to nothing. I don't know what happened to him personally, but I found this case of credits in a log explaining how he was trying to invest in a better life for his family, or I believe he died before he was able to bring back his business investment to your family. Here's his personal log. It explains everything." He takes the log from you and quickly scrolls through it, emotions washing over her features as she reads. Eventually, she looks up, and with the anger toward her father gone, she speaks. "Thank you for this. All these years I had believed he had just taken our money and run off. But knowing he had been trying to help is worth more than all the credits in the galaxy. Take them and then some as a reward for bringing me this last piece of him." You leave the building with a total of 500,000 credits from both the case and Miss Sawyer. Accept. And I don't know, some extra space. This doesn't have an accept note at the end. But that's that. Sure says I'd go with explanation 2. Any other takers? No one? Alright, we're leaving it like that. Also, ooh, conflicts. Last activity was in March. Last account activity? I don't want the commits, I want the account activity. On all of GitHub. What the? Okay. Last account activity in April. I'm just checking, like, might I just merge these and fix the conflict myself later this week if I'm not expecting. OP to get to it. That's that. Thoughts? General thoughts on the mission? Types says give them a couple days. You can look at it again on Tuesday for sure. Yeah. I'm not saying I'll do it right now. I'll still give it time. Drew says I like it. Look at Alita next. 9616 question mark. Right now. I don't have a lot of time. Tuesday maybe. Do it. Merge it immediately. No. Tuesdays for the gig now. Jim says, are we still planning that one for this update? I mean, it's mainly been Sog who's been saying he wants to get it in. Warp says no. Yeah, it is a bit down to the wire. Sock says, Whoops is the same thing to any question you ask him. His opinion doesn't count. Curious. Should sure be banned? You expecting the answer to be no? Alright, I'm actually going to have a quick break here to grab some food. So I'll be back in, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes. Round about there. Be back soon. Alright, I am back. What did I miss? Warp says, if you guys decide it's ready, I won't stop you from merging it. Hector says, probably shouldn't merge any big overarching changes right at the end of the release cycle. Ideally, they'd come sometime, or they'd have some time to sit in continuous before the next release. Warp says, but that's the question you should be asking, is it ready? Not, are we still planning that one for this update? Saga asks, Doom, is it ready? Warp says, let's say we're planning to get in this update, but it's not ready. What do? Merge it anyway? Not a fan. Don't merge it? Fine. Push it to the next update. I don't think the thing is important enough that the update needs to wait for it. Let's say you're not planning on it. If it's not ready, doesn't matter. If it is ready, we can still merge it. Whether or not it's ready is a more important question than if it's on the plan. Sock says, sure, but who determines if it's ready? You haven't looked into it yet, but so you can't say it's not. But if Doom says it is, and some other devs do, then oh, what about that? We probably shouldn't wait on something because one person says it's not ready if others say it is. What said I already said if you guys decide it's ready, I won't stop you from merging it. Sock says, I'm not saying it's 100% ready. I wouldn't be against waiting next update, but I also think it's workable to be ready. Because there isn't much conceptually that isn't ready. If it was broken or didn't work well, I wouldn't be ready, but Doom has it prepared and calculated already, so wouldn't be ready. What wouldn't be ready about it? It's also not as if we can't further adjust it too. I don't think anything in the current game, and it currently breaks the game from what I've tested, and I have a pretty high opinion that Doom would be careful not to further as in the next update. Sort of agree with the idea that has been thrown around that we need to not perfectly perfect every pull request before it's considered ready. Mechanics working properly, definitely balanced, not necessarily as long as it's nothing. No, as nothing is drastically breaking something. We don't need every PR to be one and done thing. And frankly, that isn't ever going to happen. Either way, I'd again ask Doom how ready he feels it is, because if he doesn't, then it isn't. Azure says, yes, it is I, Doomcorth. The mass rebalanced pull request is certainly ready, and for that matter, so the Avkey. Sog says, I do agree with what Hector said, so I feel like merging it first, next patch will be fine, but I don't think we need to perfectly wait for something to be ready for everything. Doom said, I'm pretty much confident the mass rebalance is ready. I've already played Freeholds with it a few times, and now Wanderers once, and they aren't broken or anything. Just says I'm down for either merging it now or at the beginning of the next unstable cycle. Sog says, what did we do with the Afterburner change? That was something we let sit live. Sure says the Afterburner buff and its consequences, yeah. Zipper on Discord asks, in the campfire chat, you said that there was an issue with the Korth World Ship name pull request that had something to do with one of the names, but I don't see any activity on the pull request. If there's nothing, then Warp is lazy. Warp has told us multiple times that he has an issue with one of the names. It's something about the naming scheme. Like, you had a theme to most of the ship renames, but then one of them was like unlike the other in some way. But again, ask Warp, as Sog says there. Alright. Well, with that done, let's move on to Adelita. Not too big here, only 400 lines. Not even. Looks like we've had Wizrad and Anarchist take a look at this already. Approvals from Marksman, Tybe, Ujo. Reviews from Hurl, Alex, Laser, Zip, Gasp. Hold on. Go back. Edited by Wizrad. What did he do? To do, test it. Is that it? Does it just need tested? I'll test it with my eyes. Just skim through here to see what we have. Leader 1. Small random offer chance, bigger random offer chance if you've done Expedition Hope, and you need to have at least some combat rating. Some branches depending on whether you visited the planet already or whether you know about the disaster from Katya. The Hope disaster, that is. Making use of some 2 display nodes. Okay, okay. This is a big conversation. I want to know what it was. Don't delete your comments. What was the suggestion? I don't think it works, unfortunately. Substitutions are not used anywhere else in logs, as far as I can see. I think they do actually work in logs, but not all of them. It's kind of weird. It's like certain ones do work. I don't even know what would we be using? I guess Moonshake? We would do a replacement for Moonshake. Have you tested it? Type says, my approval is only for grammar. I wasn't a dev back then. I'm aware. There's a second mission. You need to have the first one, but not have the expiration. Oh, excuse me. So this is one of those, you need to immediately head to the spaceport. If you take off and leave, then you screw it over. Typically, we don't do that, but I'll have to determine through reading this if that's something we want to do here. Do you have an innie or an outie? Gasp. Too political. A payment of 200k. Okay. A syndicate sweatshop. Adelaide 3, Adelaide 4. And 5. Okay, there's a good amount of stuff here. Started then. Let's bubble miner to the top here. Transport tons of exhibition installations to destination for the Adelita Collective. Payment is some amount. You have 5 tons. The source is follower. The destination is Moonshake. as was noted, is a 10% offer chance normally, given your combat rating is high enough. 60% offer chance if you have done the Expedition to Hope. Let's assume you haven't been to Hope and you don't know about the disaster. Walking on the edges of Origin Spaceport District, you notice signage advertising an exhibition around or about the planet Hope, and the disaster and evacuation happened on it in 2994. You vaguely remember it being a planet and a system southwest of New Boston, but what makes it stand out from the typical advertisements that you see on notice boards and interactive screens is some of its colorful language. Considered offensive by Paradisians. Why we can't give up hope, and evicted by the Paradise Worlds. If you've already visited the planet, you remember having been there once before on an incursion, or excursion rather, as opposed to you vaguely remember the planet and where its location is. But if you know about the disaster because you've heard of it from Katya, you remember talking about it with Katya and Eyes while you were investigating the source of the nuclear bombs, the bombings. Again, with the colorful language, all of these go in two directions. At the bottom of each sign are the directions to get to the exhibition. It appears to be located in a warehouse yard nearby, where the Spaceport District borders the city that surrounds it. Check it out, or not interested. I'm not interested. Alright, approve. Nah. Check it out. Following the signage, you notice a substantial group of people gathering in front. Gathering in front of a large warehouse that stands out amongst the rest of the warehouses in the yard. As you wait in the queue, a young woman lines up behind you with a readily apparent exuberance and asks you, just out of curiosity, how much do you know about Hope and its history? Not much at all. I came from the Derpo, but I really don't know too much about what happened on Hope. I've been there myself and know what happened, but other than that, I don't know. You can only say this if you've either visited the planet, or if you have visited the planet. Is this supposed to be an or? I think it is. I think it's supposed to be gone, rather. Because it seems like the intention is you've been to Hope, but you haven't done either of the missions that tells you about the disaster. Whereas this is, you might not have necessarily been to Hope, but you have heard of it. You have heard of the disaster from these two missions. Yeah, let me, Alright. If you say not much or don't know what happened, well then it's a good thing you're seeing the Adelita's expedition or exhibition on Hope. It's really moving. You'll learn a lot about the tragedy and what Parliament and the Paradise Worlds did to everyone who tried to help. she adds somewhat suddenly, or sullenly. You know, this was their first work that really got them famous in the interplanetary scene, but they've been forced to close it, so today is their final day. I had to see it one more time before they went. If you say you've been to Hope, oh wow, must have been a harrowing experience. Adelita does a powerful job of giving you the whole story, though, and I bet you'll still learn a lot. You might even feel as if you've been transported back there yourself, she says. You know, this was their first work that really got them famous in the interplanetary scene, but they've been forced to close it, and today's their final day. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we already heard that. Is this a plant? Or is this like a stan? Who's Adelita? Or why did they have to close it? If you say who. They're an independent journalistic collective all about the injustices of human civilization. No one knows who they really are, but Adelita's work is what inspired me to study journalism. Okay, so it's a stan. No, they're in on it. They're a part of the collective. Nobody knows who they are? I think it's you. They use their use of mixed media, their eye for storytelling. I just love it. I know you'll love it too, she says. I know you're going to love it too. If you ask about why they're closing, well, this exhibition used to be permanent, but the planetary government was pressured by the Paradise Worlds to force Adelita to leave. What Parliament and the Paradise Worlds did to the people of Hope was abhorrent. Now Adelita's bringing light to it, and they're being silenced. It's wrong. You reach the entrance to the exhibition soon enough. Inside it is a large room filled with photos, videos, interviews, and other mixed media. They focus on three groups: the refugees of Hope, the Navy who saved them, and the Paradise Worlds that protest the evacuation. At one end of the hangar, there is an installation with nearly 100 original protest signs from rallies against the Dirt Belt and the Republic Navy. Some of them are quite crude and tasteless. It's a strong rebuke to see those displayed here so close to the Paradise Worlds. There are many, many photos, but one in particular catches your eye. It's of a woman standing in line to board a ship, a baby held at her hip, and a look of sadness and determination on her face. The mother and child's cheeks, rosy and chapped, cannot stand out in contrast with the cold blues in the background. I will say, I think it's interesting, like, we picked Follower. That's like the perfect place for this. Because doesn't the description on Follower say something like, it's not quite a paradise world, but they're trying to get into the club type of thing? It's like you finish these missions and it's like, the Follower is now officially a paradise world. It's like, I wonder how that happened. Followers on the edge of the Paradise World planet's region of space. Not really one of them yet, but aspiring to be. Okay, yeah. I see what you're doing here. I caught that. Alright. You head toward the exit, but as the automatic doors open, an Arctic blast pummels into you from out of nowhere. Instead of Origin Spaceport, you find yourself in a life-size 3D representation of the evacuation of Hope, complete with simulated climate effects and a projected horizon. There are huge Navy cruisers and auxiliaries in a snowy field near a small town, gradually being covered by ash as hundreds of refugees slowly board. What stands out most is the massive volcano erupting in the background. It's more of a collage than an exact rendering, says the young woman you met in the line, having followed you all this way. Creep. They took 3D recordings from different moments and areas of Hope and edited them together in various loops. The volcano was actually on the other side of the planet, for example. The magic of editing. What do you think? That's interesting. Interesting technology there. Impressive, or it's alright. How about, isn't that a bit deceptive? I've been here 10 times and I always managed to be awestruck, the woman replies. Enjoy the exhibition. I think it's closing soon, and for the last time, she heads for the exit. Yeah, you already told me that. Go to the exit or continue to wander around the exhibit. Alright, so if we continue wandering, we have some branches here. Let's say we don't take the branch if we finish the Katya mission. Inside houses, you see families frantically gathering their belongings, running for the Navy ships. You walk down one of the lines of refugees, observing each person. Their faces harried, frightened, resolute. From the corner of your eye, you notice that a Navy officer slips in the snow. As you look around, a young man helps him up. Wandering around the exhibit gives you a sense of the desperation of the people as they evacuate, though it's a bit disconcerting when the occasional hologram walks through you. Yeah. Inside houses, you see families frantically gathering. This is if you finish the Katya mission. What's different? It strikes you that somewhere here is a young Katya leaving her doomed home. You walk down one of the lines of refugees, observing each person. Okay, so that's the same thing, except with this extra line. As you move on, you're startled to find yourself face to face with the woman holding the baby, right where they were in the photo. She takes little steps toward the ship while balancing the baby on her hip. A young woman with a camera and a respirator covering her face walks up to her, asks a few questions, or asks a question, and begins to take photos. Suddenly, the entire projection disappears in a disorienting flash, leaving you in a cordoned-off section of the hangar bay. The exhibit is nearly empty as a woman walks up to you. One of the authors loves that moment too. That's probably why she fought so hard to have that part left in. She mutters something about a security risk under her breath, and then turns her attention back to you. "Oh, how rude of me," she says, offering her hand. My name is Mariel. I organize the exhibition and act as a spokesperson for Adelita, and you are, blah, blah, blah. Captain last, or first last, which is the captain of the ship. Yeah. Am I about to get stabbed? Is this like a cult initiation? Captain, she says, her eyes lighting up. Well, as you may know, this is the last day of the exhibition. The captain I hired to transport everything back to destination is not only rude, but is now late. I would much rather have it in the hands of someone who appreciates the work. I was going to pay him $60K, but I'll pay you even more to take his contract instead, given the short notice. What do you say? What's the pay? Was there an apparent payment on this one? No, there was not. I guess I'll have to scroll down to see what the pay is. 80K. So an extra 20. I would love to, or I've got more pressing matters at hand. No, I thought that would be a pretty good deal for you, especially given the chance to meet the artists. But it's your call. I'm sorry, I can't take the job. Or, okay, I'll do it. I've been pressured into this. This is the occult initiation happening right now. Great, Mariel says. Bring your ship to this hangar, and I will have your crew get everything ready to load. After a couple hours, the whole exhibition is packed up and ready for transport to planet. If you decline, though, that's unfortunate. I'll have to try my luck with another captain then. Mariel glances at her watch. Well, anyway, the exhibition is closed. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. If you say exit because you didn't even go in, following where the woman went, you find the true exit of the warehouse and go back onto the more familiar grounds of the Origins spaceport. If you accepted the mission, saw an exhibition on the evacuation of Hope, and ended up with a job taking the whole thing to Moonshake. I had an idea, but it just slipped my mind. What the hell was it? Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. It's nearly empty. I just had like an image of you in this dark room as all the lights turn off and there's just one other person in there. But no, it's just nearly empty, so people were filing out. After navigating the thick fog of Moonshake's atmosphere, you find a motley crew waiting on your landing pad. Once you sign your landing documents with the Syndicate officials, one of the crew walks up to you and hands you a credit chip for 80K and a note. It reads, "Meet me at the Common Grounds Cafe in the spaceport if you're interested in assisting us with a new project. Make sure you're not followed. The Adelita Zero." And this is why it is a pressing matter for which you should immediately go to the spaceport for. participate in an unauthorized filming of a syndicate sweatshop on destination, you'll be paid payment after you complete the entire job. There's a stealth drone. We've got 3 passengers, apparent payment of 200k. But we will evidently not get that exact amount. At least not now. I don't know, is there like another mission later that gives you that payment? It takes a while to navigate through the bustling spaceport and the almost vicious fog of Moonshake. After finding an information screen, you're able to get to the Common Grounds Cafe, which has a funky vibe to it. It is quite busy. Nobody seems to recognize you, so you take a seat at the booth and order something to eat. Before your meal arrives, however, a woman with dark hair, maybe in her late 30s, sits down across from you and hails the server. She cheerfully orders a smoothie with a long list of ingredients, many of which you neither heard of nor can pronounce. Ah, it's her latte. Is this a Starbucks? I mean, it's a cafe, but it's a smoothie she's getting, not the 20-ingredient latte. Sorry for the cloak and dagger bit, the woman says to you finally. We have enemies in high places. So, Captain Lass, what do you think of the exhibition? I found it quite moving. It was okay. It was too political for me. If you say it was quite moving, I'm glad you liked it, she says with a smile, and we go to the next choice. If you say it was okay, not exactly a rave review, but you're entitled to your own opinion, she says, smiling. Or, oh, unfortunately for many, everything is political. It was political when the Paradise Worlds tried to block the evacuation, and it was political when the Navy did it, anyway, without the permission of Parliament. And the same goes for every single act of oppression and liberation since the dawn of humanity. Our oppressors are very political. Maybe you have the hope of being one someday, wealthy, authoritarian, exploitative. Or maybe you just don't care. Either way, you don't sound like a good fit for this project. But thanks for transporting the installation, she says with a smile. She gets her smoothie to go and walks out. Alright, cool. Alright, if you don't do that, I heard from Mariel that you saw me take the photos of the woman and her baby, she says. I really like that moment, but not many notice it. She takes a quick glance around before leaning in closer. We need a captain to transport a team to one planet, quickly land on another, and then pick up the team and return here with everyone safe and sound. I can't tell you much more than that until you accept, but it's nothing too dicey. It's a dangerous universe, though, so who knows? She looks at you expectantly. Oh, and we have to leave today. I will pay, of course, payment. So what do you say? Are you in or out? When she finishes speaking, your order is served while she drinks her smoothie. In or out? If we say out, sorry to hear that. I suppose it just wasn't meant to be. She gulps down her smoothie at lightning speed before leaving just as quickly. I'm not going to make a joke about that. If you say in, great. My name is Alejandra, but call me Allie. I'm guessing that's Allie, or just Ale. Is it Ale? I'm gonna guess Allie. Here's the plan. You're gonna drop me and a friend off at Planet, where we'll film the conditions in a secret syndicate sweatshop. The thing is, these aren't just poorly paid factory workers. They're slaves, and as you can imagine, we can't get in as regular workers. So with a bit of hacking, we got ourselves jobs on site as private security. We know that one of the syndicate's trusted contractors is getting the slaves from the pirates on covert. We also know where they're doing the transaction. So when we get the footage we need in the factories, you'll be going with my associate Bunker to spy on the syndicate's rendezvous with the pirates on Planet. Hold on, pirates? Or won't this get me in trouble with the syndicate? If you say, hold on, pirates, don't worry, Bunker is a pro. We have an array of long-range stealth drones that do the spying. We won't be anywhere near them. You might encounter some lone pirates on the way, though, so you'll need to be quick. If you say syndicate, well, I did say we had enemies in high places, didn't I? But don't worry, Bunker's a pro. We have an array of long-range stealth drones, so same thing. She waves to the server for the bill as she finishes the last gulp of her smoothie. Let's go. Everyone will be meeting on the landing pad shortly. I feel like there should be a second option to bail out here. You go back to the ship's landing pad, and sure enough, there are 2 people with backpacks and a few cases waiting for you. They introduce themselves as River and Bunker, and they enthusiastically stow their equipment away without a hitch. Good, now that that's done with, let's load up, says Bunker, before letting out a holler. Taking down the man, I love it. Alright. could also have missing passengers, so I'm going to add that to the accounts on visit. What time is it? Hey, we got like 20 minutes. Not really. Do a flyby of destination while Bunker spies on the slave transaction. You will be paid payment after you complete the entire job. That's where the apparent payment is. Was that mentioned up here? Oh, yeah, right there. You drop off Allie and River at the spaceport, watching as they try to seem neither visibly embarrassed to be in their security uniform nor uncomfortable with their disguises. Even though they're now virtually indistinguishable from other Syndicate personnel, Bunker doesn't, even though they are virtually indistinguishable from other Syndicate personnel, Bunker can't stop laughing at them. Everyone wishes each other luck as the two walk off, and you and Bunker go back to the ship and prepare for the journey to planet. Could also be missing the passengers here as well. The passenger. Infiltrating. Oops, not up there. If the ship has more than one, or if the player has more than one ship that is not a fighter or a drone, then we check if the player has a fleet. If not, we go here. It's not hard to find a remote canyon within range of the target area. Being so close to the surface of origin, you're forced to deactivate your shields. But you keep the ship hovering in case you need to make a quick escape. What? What sort of Star Wars shit is this? Rising says time for dinner. Alright, see ya. If you have a fleet, you carefully bring the ship into atmosphere while the rest of your fleet stays in space so that the pirates can't or don't catch wind of Adelita's operation. Luckily, it's not hard to find a remote canyon within range of the target area for you to lie low, and then again you deactivate your shields, but your ship keeps hovering in case to make a quick escape. Stray, empty line. After settling on a secure location within the canyon, Bunker releases the drones from the open cargo bay. The drones are so small you can't make them out from the cockpit, nor can you see them on your ship's scanners. When Bunker returns to the cockpit, he sets up a display and sits at the controller. Okay, you're on autopilot. They're on autopilot to the rendezvous site. As you watch the display, the drones arrive on site, and you can see a lone Syndicate-built freighter with a security detail posted in front of the landing ramp. The pirates must be late, says Bunker, smirking. Typical. I'm going to scatter the drones and set a proximity alarm. He hums to himself for a while before he turns to you and starts talking again. You know, there's a part of me that would much rather be liberating slaves instead of filming them, but for now, it seems like this is the best way for me to help. Say we did liberate them right now, that's just going to be, there's just going to be another slave ship tomorrow. But if we create political and social pressure, that could stop the slave ships forever. I think you're right, or what about doing both? Now you're talking if you say both, but it would take a lot of planning to do it without killing the people we're trying to liberate. You know, they'll use those poor people as human shields. Say a sharp from the proximity sensor cuts him off. If you just say that you think he's right, I think you know they'll use those poor people as human shields. Say and then again the chirp. "Showtime!" he exclaims, rubbing his hands together. Both of you watch as a capital ship, accompanied by a small flotilla of Quicksilver escorts, all in pirate colors, lands near the security detail, probably deafening them with the sound of the repulsors. As soon as the landing ramp is down, the security detail gets to work herding the slaves from one ship to another, hitting, shoving, and shouting at shouting at anyone that moves too slowly for their liking. "Pigs," blurts out Bunker. He zooms in on two men walking or talking a few meters away from everyone else. One is in a suit and the other a black hooded robe. "Must be the leaders," he whispers as if they can hear him. Just then, the hooded man looks up in the sky as if he sees something. He motions the Quicksilver fires up their engines. "Oh, I don't like the look of that," says Bunker. "Did he see us? Call back the drones now. I think we'll have to leave the drones behind or keep filming." If you say, "I think we'll have to leave the drones behind," I don't know. I think we ought to get going. Says Bunker, grimacing. "Okay, call the drones back." Or, "That's an order?" "I think we'll have to leave the drones behind." "I don't know. I think we gotta get going," says Bunker, grimacing. "Okay, call the drones back, or that's an order." "You're the captain," Bunker says in a sour tone. Meanwhile, you continue to watch the display. It takes a few minutes before the last of the slaves are loaded, followed by the security team. This go-to is not supposed to be here. I don't think this go-to... Sounds like they keep filming. This is what leads to a choice below this. But it's actually the leave the drones behind choice that's leading to the text below. Anyway, you hear the sudden hum of thrusters from outside just as the ship receives a hail of particle cannon fire from a pirate Quicksilver, appearing seemingly out of nowhere as it tears through your hull. You shunt the ship's repulsors to full blast to get into orbit, but another pair of Quicksilver sends a volley of particle fire that breaks through and takes the repulsors offline. The last thing you experience is the ship slowing to a halt, pausing in the air just a moment before the pilot seat goes out from under you, the cockpit filled with screams as the ship makes a one-way trip toward the surface. Sure, this go-to seems like it could be shoved up. Yeah, these are supposed to be swapped. Because the leave the drones behind leads to no can do. Or should lead to no can do. Bunker hits the recall button for the drones anyway. This display is a low-resolution proxy, explains Bunker. If we leave the drones, we'll lose all the footage we need. It looks like the Quicksilvers aren't coming straight for us. We have time. The drones are less than 2 minutes out. If you say we're leaving now, or fine, go to the cargo bay and lock down the drones as soon as they land, we can take off on your mark. If you say we're leaving now, I can't let you do that first, says Bunker, standing between you and the controls. The drones are almost here. Just let me go to the cargo bay to lock them down, and we're out of here. Force him to stand down with the blaster, or let him go to the cargo bay and lock down the drones. Or let him go to the cargo bay and then leave anyway. How about that? If you grab the blaster, you get up and point your blaster at Bunker while ordering him to stand down. Don't do this, he says, shrinking from you as he puts his hands down. As you're restraining him, you notice the humming of thrusters from outside. Then the ship receives a hail of particle cannon fire out of nowhere. So that's the same thing as last time. One-way trip to the surface. Does this necessarily need to be like that? Did they see us? I have no idea, says Bunker, but it's probably time to go. Call back the drones immediately, or I think we have to leave the drones behind, then no can do. If you say call the drones, aye, Captain, he says as he hits a button. Drone ETA, 2 minutes 15 seconds. Get to the cargo bay, lock down the drones as they arrive, and get belted in. We'll take off on your mark. Less than a minute later, you hear bunker on the comms. Drones are locked in and ready to go. You immediately raise the shields and take off. The moment you pull out from the canyon, pirate quicksilvers appear from every direction. You shunt the ship's repulsors into full blast and accelerate into space with the pirates in hot pursuit. I don't imagine it took you 2 minutes to pull out your firearm, to pull out your blaster, and get bunker on the ground. Or in restrained bunker. So it seems odd to me that this choice would lead to the same outcome as as deciding to stay. Get more footage. The Great Dangus says, you're an upstanding captain. You have to walk him to the brig and everything. That takes a while. Doom says, seems weird to not mention the model of the capital ship, but then specifically name the Quicksilvers. Versus me when 2 Quicksilvers nuke my Refecta. To be honest, I would avoid instant death outcomes that ignore which ship you're flying. And I mean, we know the other ship is a freighter. So yeah, this is the one ship that isn't mentioned by name what it is. Yeah, I think we need to somehow account for the strengths. Or change the circumstances. Perhaps Capital Ship 1, Capital Ship 2, Capital Ship 3. That just force the player into using a smaller ship with the justification that a big warship would be too conspicuous, or an alien, or any alien ship. I wouldn't want to do that. Doom says we could query the player ship's HP or any of a number of other stats with auto conditions, right? Flagship hull plus flagship shields less than 6,000 or something? We could. Although we couldn't damage the player's ship. I don't think we can damage the player's ship through actions right now. But we probably easily could. Although there is a difference between the flagship's max hull and shields, which is a attribute, and the flagship's current hull and shields, which is a variable on the ship. And let's say you landed on an uninhabited planet with a bunch of hull damage, and you don't have hull repair. Well, your maximum hull could be 10,000, but maybe in actuality you only have 2,000 left. We couldn't right now query that to see what's your current hull value. We would need to add a new auto condition for that. It wouldn't be difficult, but we would need to. There's a suggestion somewhere about pirate troubles killing you in a different way if you have a stronger ship. Yeah, how about they just sneak onto your ship and shoot you from behind? Can you not give me this just nasty formatting, dude? I'm not going to read all that. I'm not reading all that. Just open a pull request! Yeah, someone else can parse through that. I'm not trying to figure out what's happening here. Alright, seems Ziproot has cropped out the important part. Before you can even react, several dozen lasers and streams of bullets come flying out from behind the floodlights. Your shields hold as you activate your weapons, but you can tell they won't last long. Opening fire in the direction of the most damaging shots, your attacks destroy the floodlights blocking your view, allowing you to see as you blast melts through the steel of the station, shredding everything in its path. Just as it looks like survival is possible, you notice as with all things pirate-made, the station has one massive glaring flaw. Behind the built-in weapon systems, behind a mere 2 layers of steel, sits a huge internal reactor. Your last moment is seeing the pirates stop their firing in confusion as sirens begin blaring before light engulfs the station. Simply nuke them. That's a shame. Hector says that's a pretty obscure issue, really. How many people really fly around with a damaged hull? I mean, in human space, if the mission is on an uninhabited planet, and you had to fight to get there, it's not unreasonable to assume that your ship will have hull damage that you can't have repaired. Now, if you land on an inhabited planet, this is not an issue. If you land on an uninhabited planet and you have both hull repair and shield generation, this is not an issue. But if you don't have shield generation or you don't have hull repair and you land on an uninhabited planet, this is actually an edge case type situation. And yeah, Doom says you could easily be in a ship that could tank a nuclear explosion. At that point, even a dreadnought can, referring to the reactor exploding. In any case, if you don't die and you end up launching, we have Heroic Nemesis, Vindictive, Launching, Marked, Pirates, Dog's Leash, Burning Whip, Iron Chains. Do we want Syndicate ships to fight these pirates that are helping them? Bounty Hunter doesn't make sense, so maybe I'll make a new government? Nah. And then, yeah, you can use Marked for this exact case. But I will question if we do want Marked. Alright, let's wrap up here. One more mission to go. Return the gang to another planet. So you come back to Maker. You manage to deal with those Quicksilvers and arrive on Origin alive. As soon as you land, Ale and River rush on board, obviously relieved to be out of their disguises. And they spend a lot of time talking with Bunker about his part on the mission. Although exhausted, all of them are eager to get back and process what they filmed, both emotionally and literally. That was horrible, but we got it done, Ale mumbles. Can we leave now? Helped the underground journalism collective Adelita gather video evidence of syndicate participation in slave trade while escaping from pirates. Ale and River and Bunker look glad to be back on Moonshake. Being there in person was bad enough, Ale grumbles as she looks through a stack of folders on her datapad. Now we have to watch it over and over again to edit into something presentable. As they're leaving, Ale hands you a stack of credit chips totaling even more than was originally said. There's a bonus there in there for you. We really couldn't have done it without you, she tells you with a bittersweet smile. Of course, you'll be one of the first to know when it's done. She starts off to join River and Bunker out in the spaceport before turning one last time in the doorway. We might be in need of you for some of our future projects too, Captain. But goodbye for now. Stay safe on the Star Lanes. All right. And we're done. Any final thoughts? Nice stretch. Merge the remnant balance pool quests later. There's nothing to talk about. Got through 2 good pull quests, and do more going forward. Hector says, I think the taste and consistency of brown sugar makes for a better tasting and smoother coffee than regular white sugar. There's your tip of the day. Use brown sugar instead of white sugar in your coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I wouldn't know. Alright, well, as usual, thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you for being in chat and providing feedback today. Reminder that we are less than 2 weeks away from the next major update. So we'll be getting some things in last minute as usual. Oh, the deadline's near? Let's light a fire under our asses and actually get some stuff done. What if we just make more deadlines? We just release more often, like every week there's a deadline, you know, then we'll just constantly be working. That's the trick. We totally won't burn out because of that. I will, I'm not guaranteeing the time I posted earlier is the time I will be doing a stream on Tuesday, but I would like to do at least one more stream this week to actually look over more stuff. Hector says constant development crunch. All the AAA studios do it. Azure says, give me a deadline for the AVGI, then I'll actually work. Maybe I'll actually work on them. Just call it sprint weeks. Or says, my sister said something about having lots of deadlines in November at university and asked me why I didn't warn her about this. I was like, I had new deadlines every week. Yeah. Yeah, clearly we need to, we're now developing the game using an agile system. We will have sprint schedules, 2-week sprint schedules. At the start of the sprint, we will say this is what needs done by the end of the sprint. Anyone who does not finish their stuff by the end of the sprint gets marked down. Too many missed items and you're fired. We need to maximize the MBA buzzwords, says Azure. Gotta rationalize our development pipeline to improve margins. We need a 5-year plan, says Doom. Missed the scrum meeting. The scrum meeting. Alright, well, I'll catch you guys later. Adios.